Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, where we continuously provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Thank you for tuning in to one of our most popular shows, Coexistence and Sustainability with Pet Psychic Amina. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and I am your host today. The star of our show, Pet Psychic Amina, is joining us from California, and we're going to be talking today about effective ways to train dogs. Pet Psychic Amina is obviously a pet psychic, but she's also a trainer. She's also a keynote speaker. She's also an advocate for coexistence and sustainability, hence the title of the show. Let's welcome her without further ado. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Good to see you. Good to
see you.
You
too.
So we are here today and we're talking about a topic that is very near and dear to your heart. I know you have so many training tips and tools to share with our audience. And this is a topic that needs to be discussed on a regular basis because sometimes our pets need to be reminded again, or we need to be reminded. So let's start off with you sharing a little bit about your experience working with animals.
I'm very, very, very blessed with the childhood and the parents I got. My mom was an only child most of her life. And then as a soon to be past teenage years, she got a brother. So my dad grew up with 6 brothers and 1 sister. So with that dynamic of where your family is or what they experienced or what their parents experienced really moves forward in all of our histories. My mom had no idea how to live in a family full of 5. And again, she was an only child for most of her childhood. So when she made sure each one of us had our passion and had it addressed, had somebody listening and saying, okay, you really like doing that. Let's get you involved in that. You really like to doing that. Let's get involved. Being her last child, I was very, very fortunate to still have those things that she was doing for us, because I don't know about you, if I had 5 children, I would be tired. And a husband that works all the time, and he's a coach, and you were going to games and all types of things. So very, very fun living in that family. My dad was one of 7 children, and we saw them every 3 years, a big family reunion. So where do animals come in your life? All of that. If you're doing it right, and if you've incorporated your pets, literally your pets, to be a part of your greater family size, I promise you, even with the struggles, it will be wonderful. It'll be a wonderful thing. Let me break it down into 2 different categories specifically. If you're dealing with a dog or anything in the dog family, even the poodles, even all the delightful new ways they're breeding, it is a pack mentality. Those dogs will look at the one who's got their head on straight, and the one who's treating them nice, and the one who gets the food brought in. Hopefully you're not bringing dead carcasses in like the wolves are. But if that is not your mother or father, but it's one of the children, I'm all for it. A lot of parents are that way. Well, you wanted the dog, you wanted the cat. I want you to take care of it. You need to feed it, water, grooming, flea treatment. Ooh, Don't even get me started on having a dog or a cat or a bunny or whatever has fur in the house and with you, and you don't do any flea treatment. Oh, I promise the whole family's going to be itchy. So that's why the relationship matters, because we affect each other. A pack or not, or a soul or not, your goldfish or not, everybody has an expectation how life will look. Now you get a cat, bunny's a little bit different, all of those types of things. You get a cat and they will come when they want. They will come when they feel like, oh, I need a little bit of petting. And they will come for the food. Remember, that is their first go-to. Is it the only one? No. And how do you get over them? Dr. Jacalyn, do you have any guesstimation? Because I know you've had pets. How do you get over possibly a pet that turns you down, knows never want to sit on your lap, and or tries to rule the nest?
I think you have to show them who's in control.
Exactly. With compassion, with fairness. What you'll find in the dogs with pack mentality, nobody just hauls off and decks somebody or kicks them out of the whole group of the dogs. All have jobs, all have to night delivery and or watching out for the rattlesnakes and being able to kill them and save lives. That's important to the dynamic. Families, I would give anything to see we taking the lessons from packs, any kind of pack. They're very, very prevalent in any of the dog breeds. You don't see the same thing with an elephant, but they also come in groups. That's a very large group to come into. If you are more independent, that doesn't mean you can't respect the pack. But maybe you need to tweak the way your pack works together. Is somebody ultra shy? Is somebody ultra this? So your dogs are going to need a leader. That is going to be the most important thing to the dog pack, is saying, okay, we'll go out and hunt. We'll go out and bring this. And if anybody has these great dog stories I've heard for years about their dog bringing in, and the cats bringing in their food to share with their people. Let's try not to share it and just take care of it. But then you've got cats, and they are much more on their own. They're much more attuned to saying, I got it. I'm going to sleep it off. I love you when you pet me, but I'm going to sleep it off. You have to know what you're getting in that animal and what their wildlife might have looked like. Pick up a book, a library, anywhere, and find out, because fish come in many different size, shapes, and needs. The guinea pig, the rabbit, all of these animals have a reason to be on the planet. And now it's kind of changed because it's living in a cage with people. So really make sure, and it would be a really fun activity with your kids. Research before you get a pet. See if you can babysit somebody's.
All right. Thank you very much. So when it comes to training your dogs, today's topic, I know that sometimes people, I've witnessed this myself, they use the screaming method, and it just gives me chills. They're screaming at the dog because the dog's not doing what they want, or they're out for a walk with the dog and they still have the collar, not a harness, and they're literally ripping the dog. Come here, screaming at the dog. Right. Do you think these are effective means of training tools?
I don't know. Does it work for you in the workplace? Does it work for me on the street if somebody yells at me and says, you're on the wrong side of the street? I'm thinking, it's a sidewalk. How wrong could I get? There's no sign that says one way. And there's no sign on any training book, because it shouldn't be. Maybe somebody can find me one. I'd love to hear that. That says this is the only way to train. This is the only way to have a cat. This is the only way to have a hamster. This is the only, no. Is there one way to make lasagna? No. Just depends on what part of the world you're in. Is it one way to bandage a cut? No. Just depends on if it's by an artery or it's gushing everywhere. Be flexible. That's the point. Be flexible. And read up on people and celebrities even. We've got a plethora of wonderful professionals out there like what I'm doing, sharing my knowledge and saying, you got this. Just give yourself some room to learn. And if you have any friends, or even better is go volunteer to a shelter. Go volunteer to shelter. Yes, you're going to be picking up a lot of poop, probably, because that's really what they need, is to keep those animals healthy and safe. But there's also time for a lot of volunteers. They get to sit down and hug and squish and whatever their pets are, not and just cats and dogs. I've seen sheep in there and all kinds of things. These animals are dying for love and dying for interaction. And how wonderful would that be? Is every Tuesday you get to go and sit with the dogs or sit with the kitties, or both if you've got that much time. There's summer programs, there's winter programs, just depending on where you are. Go to your city hall. Go talk to somebody at the city and say, this is what I'm looking for. Let's say you just moved into the town, and maybe you haven't made enough friends and you haven't found out, you don't have a church and or a group or a club yet to ask these questions. Talk to the city. They're supposed to know, and they have a plethora of great resources for wonderful, great dog clubs that you can just go and watch. A lot of times trainers who do groups will do it at a park. Well, guess what? A park is a public land. So you can sit there and watch, and guess how much you'll learn. It'll be really nice. And you'll walk away a better pet owner, because you got to see different ways of keeping animals safe, keeping them from running across the street, and how you should behave around them so that you don't have a bite unnecessarily, or you don't have some kind of cataclysmic explosion. Believe it or not, how you feed your pets, how you care for your pets, how clean is, the backyard, is all going to matter in the entire relationship.
Thank you very much. Excellent points that you brought up. So something else I'd like to discuss when it comes to training your pets is, and I was very guilty of this when I got my first dog. I didn't want to leave the dog in the crate. I felt so bad. So I brought the dog into the bed with me, put the dog on the bed. That's not a great idea, is it?
Well, just put your mind about this possible scenario. And if it really happened to you, we all get to laugh and enjoy your terrible experience. But fleas don't just jump on and then jump off. And so many people still don't take care of their house, I want to say plants, but house people and house animals with treating for fleas. If your dog goes for a walk anywhere, usually outside, they're open for that. The fleas are just waiting to jump on, depending on where you live. So if you're bringing an animal in and you haven't wiped their paws down, let's say they walked in the mud, your house is going to be a mess. It's also going to be a messy bugs and messy things. And pretty soon you go to the doctor, and I'd like to see you explain that. Yeah, my dog gave me fleas, and they'll go, yeah, we know, we can see it. And I'll tell you, it's very uncomfortable. I mean, you probably have experienced mosquitoes. I have experienced tons of mosquitoes. All of this matters. Remember, having a good relationship with people does tie over to animals. Am I saying that you should treat animals like people? No. You want to treat people the way they present to you. If you've got the grumpiest guy on the block, I actually lived across the street from a very grumpy man. And everybody said, oh, you can't go trick-or-treating there. He might put something in the candy, or just terrible stories. And I was like, no, he's just lonely and old. So I know my family and I eventually got to know him. And he was not either grumpy nor old by then. So think of your pets that way. You got to anticipate what might happen. So therefore, do not feed them candy. No high sugars. That is not healthy for pets. And sometimes you see commercials like this. I haven't seen a commercial, but on TV, where they have a lollipop and let the dog lick it. That sounds gross because most people probably don't have soap or water around to wash it off. And it's not healthy for you to be sharing bodily fluids with your pets. So watch out what you do. It does affect everybody. Because just think, if you got ill or sick because you decided to share some kind of food with your canine or cat, and you didn't know that it would make you sick but not the pet, your parents taking you to the doctor is going to be hard. Us parents don't really like to see our kids suffer. So be careful. Make wise choices.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. As always, we've discussed on other shows about training cats, which is a different program, but I know you were able to find a number of things at the dollar store. Are there any things from the dollar store that you can use to train dogs?
Well, yeah, they are wonderful. They really have come into their own because I've now covered a couple of states and the locality of where they are. Most stores, like a dollar store, caters to the neighborhood within 5 to 10 feet, give or take, miles, sorry, not feet, for that neighborhood. So remember, lots of people have pets. Why not get into the pet ball machine or leash machine? Now remember, you're going to a store that has a great deal of things to try, but maybe it's not the last leash you get because it might not be strong enough. If you're dealing something with a bigger dog, anything over, I would say 20 pounds, that's pushing it even then, maybe 15 pounds, you want to make sure that their harshness, their leash, whatever you're using is strong enough to hold that body that is it's attached to. So if you're dealing with hamsters, first of all, I don't know why you'd put a leash on a hamster, but maybe that you like it. But you could literally take a little teeny baby t-shirt or something and let them kind of wander around in there. Again, not usually a use because I can't imagine hamsters are going for walks with you. But I wanted to give you an idea of a body size. There's a lot of breeds of dogs and cats that are very small. So you might think, well, I might have to buy one for a mouse because my dog is so small. There is also the paw issue. Do you put booties on your dog or cat if you're going for a walk? But let's stick to dogs at this point. And the sidewalk is hot. Their paws can literally blister within a very short walk. So there are booties for that if your animal will tolerate them. The great part is put them on when you're at home. Put them on when you give them a teeny slice of their favorite, not terribly nutritious treat and build that relationship. All of these things, when you feel like, oh, this is a huge challenge, I want you to turn it around and say, this is a huge challenge I am ready for, because we're going to learn more about each other. We're going to learn more about myself. Some people are absolutely fabulous at training 2 seconds. To me, it's like somebody picks up a second language. Poof, they're done. And I'm thinking, well, I can't do it that fast. That's okay. Choose your pace, your animal's pace, and decide what is necessary. When you go for a walk with your dogs, having a recall is life and death difference. Dr. JACALYN, do you know what a recall is?
No, I do know for a car, but not with a dog.
Yeah. So what you're doing is you want to be able to, let's say the leash breaks, or better yet, when you have a German Shepherd like I did, and my children were very small, he just stepped off a few things and the kids couldn't hold on. So, because they're not equal, the children are too small. Remember that, mom and dad and aunts and uncle that are helping. If the child is too small, then maybe get a dual leash and they can hold on to one side, but you're actually holding on to all the dog parts as far as a harness or something around the neck. Now, the caution here is be very careful about collars around their neck and then going for a walk with a dog who's very active. So he pulls a lot and you've got it up against their vocal cords and their throat. It can get damaged. So be really, really, really careful on what you're using. Talk to your vet, find out what they recommend, et cetera, et cetera. Have children involved. what I love is the harness that goes through their back. Talking, of course, dogs still, and the children can hold on to the harness. And guess what? The dog gets to love walking beside them, because usually they love the little ones that you have even as much as you. And then you can have children on both sides. They're safe. You know they're where they are. They're walking with you. You've got a leash on it, and everybody's participating. And they're learning a lot, because the dog's going to stop possibly every 3 seconds to smell something. The bush, the wrapping paper going by. It's usually not a very fast walk. But guess what? Everybody learns how to make it a more constant walk. You go that way all the time, the dog eventually, hopefully, will get bored and not want to smell everything. But don't discourage them from doing that. If you're in a rush to get somewhere, you're in a rush to get home, that things happen. There's a crisis, there's something that is really pressing that you need to get to. Hopefully you got a small enough dog, you can pick them up and take them with you, and then off you go. But that's not true for so many people, or physically cannot pick up their little dog, big dog, cat, whatever it is. So it's really, really great, especially if you're pushing a child in a stroller. If you get a double one, you could put the dog in one, and you could put the child in the other. There are just a million types of creative ways that you can have your family and your friends with your pet. I know a lot of people who are afraid of different breeds, but that's another show. And just know, just like people, a lot determines on how we are treated. So remember, treat your pets with love, and that is a first big step of keeping love in their life and calmness.
That was beautiful. Thank you very much for that. Exceptional. So we're actually over time for our show. We have an abbreviated show today because we started a little bit later. So Amina, what would you like to share with people as we close out today? Maybe some last words for the week, and then also how people can reach you.
Well, I'm going to do the really fast one. To reach me, if you want a reading, I deal with people all over the world. I don't need to have you in my presence, is bridgingworlds.us. That's where you find me, and send me an email that gets you into the conversation. The last thing I really want you guys, everybody, to realize is animals, nature, bugs, even mosquitoes, still waiting to hear why they're around too much, but they all have a plan. They all have a journey. Animals are not plotting it out. They're not building up cash for college, all of that. But we can show them a great deal of love, acceptance, and tolerance when they go potty in the house and they're not supposed to, and so much more. I get tested all the time. We have a brand new kitten in the house, and before we went live, she was running all over, chewing on everything. I'm thinking, how do I get on a live show and have this little kitten? Well, guess what? She went to sleep. So I need to participate with a toy because I needed her to lay down. I didn't even get a chance. She ran around so fast while I was doing other things. So remember and try to see what you have in your life, what their proclivities are, what are their wants and not wants, and where it fits in your life. Not every pet is for every person. And your shelters are great places to start. You can even volunteer there. You can check if your kids can volunteer there. It is a wonderful way if you're a first-time pet owner or pet person. Go and hang out with the shelter animals. They are desperately looking for those homes. And it's all set up for you. And they'll tell you everything about the health, well-being, the vaccines, all of that. And then you can come bring them home and find your first trainer, because we are all out there everywhere.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I just want to let you know that the Ocean Guardian show that we did a few weeks ago is number 6 out of
Oh,
the
how
top
exciting.
all the shows for the last 28 days. So congratulations on that.
Well, and thank you to you. Everybody would know she's the queen of getting us all here and getting us all decked up. So I really appreciate it. It's a wonderful place just to hang out with you and tell everybody all the stories that we can laugh together.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you. And I hope you have a great weekend. I want to say goodbye to everyone. Thanks for being here. By the way, we now do have shows on Saturdays and Sundays, so check those out as well. Our next show is coming up. It's Royal Breaking News from London.
That's
So
wonderful.
that. See y'all later. Bye, Amina.
Bye.
Bye.